Chapter number 8, IC Study Material Questions. Test your understanding question number 1. CA Lalita is auditor of a company. She is also offered professional work of audit of financial statements prepared specifically for meeting requirements of a loan agreement for the same period. She chooses to accept work and has made up her mind to disclose this fact in other matter paragraph in audit report to be issued by her for this specific engagement. Is her approach proper? In the given situation, the approach of CA Lalita is proper. There is no bar upon accepting such an engagement, even though she is the auditor of the company. Besides, she has intended to disclose this fact in other matter paragraph of the audit report to be issued by her for such specific engagement. Next, test your understanding question number 2. CA Lakshmi has prepared a draft audit report for the financial statements of X Limited, prepared in accordance with financial reporting provisions of a contract with Y Limited. She has drafted an unmodified opinion to be given in audit report. Besides, she has also drawn attention in draft audit report to note A to the financial statements, which describes the basis of accounting under the heading basis of accounting, how she should ensure that report would not be misused. Draft a suitable para to be included in the report for this purpose. She may consider it appropriate to indicate that auditor's report is intended solely for specific uses. Depending on the law or regulation applicable, this may be achieved by restricting the distribution or use of the auditor's report. In these circumstances, the paragraph electing the readers may be expanded to include these other matters and the heading modified accordingly. The draft para should read as under basis of accounting and restriction on distribution and use. Without modifying our opinion, we draw attention to note A to the financial statements, which describes the basis of accounting. The financial statements are prepared to assist the company to comply with the financial reporting provisions of the contract referred to above. As a result, the financial statements may not be suitable for another purpose. Our report is intended solely for X Limited and Y Limited and should not be distributed to or used by parties other than X Limited and Y Limited. Next, test your understanding question number 3. CAM Surya is auditor for financial statements of an entity prepared in accordance with financial reporting provisions of a contract. He is also offered audit of trade receivables appearing in above financial statements. Can he accept such engagement? Discuss brief outline of this audit approach in such a situation. The single financial statement or the specific element, account, or item of a financial statement may be prepared in accordance with a general purpose framework or special purpose framework. If prepared in accordance with a special purpose framework, SA 800 also applies to the audit. In the given case, financial statements of the entity are prepared in accordance with the financial reporting provisions of a contract. It is a special purpose framework. It is a special purpose framework. The auditor of financial statements prepared in accordance with special purpose framework is also offered audit of trade receivables appearing in above financial statements, which relates to audit of elements of financial statements prepared in accordance with the special purpose framework. Hence, his audit approach should include considering requirements of both SA 800 and SA 805. Next, test your understanding question number 4. CAG is offered appointment for audit of trade tables of financial statements of a company. However, financial statements prepared under Companies Act 2013 are audited by CA Jignesh. Discuss why it would be practically difficult for CAG to perform such an audit. Compliance with the requirements of SAs relevant to the audit of a single financial statement or a specific element of financial statement may not be practicable when the auditor is not also engaged to audit the entity's complete set of financial statements. In such cases, the auditor often does not have the same understanding of the entity and its environment, including its internal control. As an auditor, who also audits the entity's complete set of financial statements. Accordingly, the auditor may need further evidence to corroborate audit evidence acquired from the accounting records. In the case of an audit of a specific element of a financial statements, certain essays require audit work that may be disproportionate to the element being audited. If the auditor concludes that an audit of a single financial statement or a specific element of a financial statement in accordance with the essays may not be practicable, the auditor may discuss with the management whether another type of engagement might be more practicable. Next, test your understanding question number 5. CA Mathur is auditor of a company and has issued audit report dated 15th June of a particular year. The audit report on summary financial statements derived from such audited financial statement is dated 15th July of that particular year. Discuss whether there exists any additional reporting responsibility for auditor in such a situation in respect of the audit report on summary financial statements. The audit report on summary financial statements derived from audited financial statements is dated 15th July of that particular year. However, the audit report on audited financial statements is dated 15th June of that year. In the above situation, the auditor's report on summary financial statements should state that the summary financial statements and the audited financial statements do not reflect the effects of events that occurred subsequent to the date of the auditor's report on the audited financial statements. Next, test your understanding question number 6. Consider that the audit report on financial statements issued by CA Mathur for above said company contains qualified opinion. Can he issue an unmodified opinion on summary financial statements derived from audited financial statements? Discuss. If the auditor is satisfied that summary financial statements are consistent in all material respects with or a fair summary of the audited financial statements in accordance with the applied criteria, he can issue an unmodified opinion. However, when auditor's report on audited financial statements contains a qualified opinion, the auditor's report on summary financial statements shall also contain following. State that the auditor's report on the audited financial statements contains a qualified opinion and describe the basis for the qualified opinion on the audited financial statements and that qualified opinion in the auditor's report on the audited financial statement and the effect thereof on the summary financial statements, if any. Hence, above points should be included by CA Mathur. Next, integrated case scenario. Given below is an extract of abridged financial statements of the scheme of Smart Investment Mutual Fund. The abridged financial statements have been derived from audited financial statements of the scheme of Smart Investment Mutual Fund as at 31st March and for the year ended 31st March, 2 years. Abridged balance sheet as at 31st March is given rupees in lakhs. Liabilities, Smart Investment Equity and Debt Fund, Smart Investment Equity Savings Fund. Unit capital is given, reserves and surplus is given, other current liabilities and provision is given, total assets, investment, deposits, other current assets is given. Abridged revenue account for the year ended is given rupees in lakhs, income, expense and losses, net realized gains, change in unrealized appreciation in value of investment, net surplus, dividend, appropriation, retained earnings is given. The abridged financial statements of the scheme of the fund have been prepared by Board of Trustees of the fund pursuant to SEBI regulations and in accordance with the format prescribed by the SEBI. Previous year figures have been ignored for the purpose of the case. Unmodified opinion has been expressed by the auditor in the audited financial statements of the scheme of Smart Investment Mutual Fund as at 31st March and for the year ended for the 2 years. He has expressed an unmodified opinion. Keeping in view above, answer the following questions. Given the above extract of abridged financial statements and description, which of the following statements is most appropriate? The auditor may presume that criteria applied by the Board of Trustees in the preparation of the abridged financial statements are acceptable. Second option, the auditor cannot presume that criteria applied by the Board of Trustees in preparation of abridged financial statements are acceptable. Third option, the abridged financial statements have been prepared by the Board of Trustees. The auditor cannot ordinarily accept criteria applied by them for the preparation of such abridged financial statements before detailed evaluation. Fourth, the auditor is duty bound to accept the criteria applied by the Board of Trustees in preparation of abridged financial statements. Option A is correct. The auditor may presume that criteria applied by the Board of Trustees in the preparation of abridged financial statements are acceptable. Next, second question. Which of the following statements in reference to abridged financial statements is not in accordance with the requirements of SA 810? First one, the notes to accounts should specifically disclose that these abridged financial statements have been derived from audited financial statements. Next, the Board of Trustees has disclosed that audited financial statements are available on the website of the company. Third, it should be stated in the auditor's report that abridged financial statements have been compared with the related information in the audited financial statements to determine whether the abridged financial statements agree with or can be recalculated for the related information in the audited financial statements. Option D, it should be stated in the auditor's report that reading the abridged financial statements is not a substitute for reading the audited financial statements of the schemes of the fund. Here, which of the following statements in reference to abridged financial statements is not in accordance with the requirements of SA 810? Option C is correct. It should be stated in the auditor's report that abridged financial statements have been compared with the related information in the audited financial statements to determine whether the abridged financial statements agree with or can be recalculated for the related information in the audited financial statements. Next, which of the following paras is most appropriate to be included under the heading Auditor's Responsibility in the auditor's report? Our responsibility is to express an opinion on abridged financial statements based on our procedures, which were conducted in accordance with standards on auditing issued by ICAI. Next, our responsibility is to express an opinion on abridged financial statements based on our procedures, which were conducted in accordance with SA 810, engagements to report on summary financial statements issued by ICAI. Next, our responsibility is to express an opinion on abridged financial statements based on our procedures, which were conducted in accordance with the standards on auditing adopted in circumstances including SA 810, engagements to report on summary financial statements issued by ICAI. Next, our responsibility is to express an opinion on the abridged financial statements based on our procedures, which were conducted in accordance with SEBI regulations and standards on auditing adapted in the circumstances, including SA 810, engagements to report on summary financial statements issued by the ICAI. Option B is correct. That is, our responsibility is to express an opinion on abridged financial statements based on our procedures, which were conducted in accordance with standards on auditing SA 810, engagements to report on summary financial statements issued by ICAI. Next, fourth one. Which of the following paras is most appropriate to be included under the heading Opinion in Auditor's Report? In our opinion, the abridged financial statements derived from the audited financial statements of the scheme of the fund as at 31st March and for the year ended 31st March, that means 2 years, are a fair summary of those financial statements and are in accordance with accounting policies and standards specified in SEBI regulations and generally accepted accounting principles in India to the extent applicable. Next, second option. In our opinion, the abridged financial statements as at 31st March first year and for the year ended 31st March second year are a fair summary of those financial statements. Next, in our opinion, the abridged financial statements derived from the audited financial statements of the scheme of the fund as at 31st March and for the year ended 31st March second year are consistent with audited financial statements and are in accordance with the accounting policies and standards specified in SEBI regulations and generally accepted accounting principles in India to the extent applicable. Next, in our opinion, the abridged financial statements derived from the audited financial statements of the scheme of the fund as at 31st March and for the year ended 31st March second year are consistent with the audited financial statements. Option A is correct. That is, in our opinion, the abridged financial statements derived from the audited financial statements of the schemes of the fund as at 31st March first year and for the year ended 31st March second year are a fair summary of those financial statements and are in accordance with the accounting policies and standards specified in SEBI regulations and generally accepted accounting principles in India to the extent applicable. Next, which of the following is usually not an element of audit report on abridged financial statements in accordance with SA 810? Emphasis of matter paragraph, other matter paragraph, management's responsibility for abridged financial statements, key audit matter. Key audit matter. Option D is correct. Key audit matters. Key audit matter is not an element of audit report on abridged financial statements in accordance with SA 810. Next, test your knowledge question number 1. CAP is auditor of a company responsible for auditing complete set of financial statements. He intends to express adverse opinion on complete set of financial statements considering conclusions drawn by him during course of audit. He is also auditing trade receivables of company for the same period in a separate engagement. Can he express unmodified opinion in respect of the trade receivables? If so, discuss those circumstances. In the present situation, for complete set of financial statements, auditor intends to express adverse opinion. For trade receivables, he wants to express an unmodified opinion. Whether he can do so, this is the question. Forming an opinion and reporting considerations. When forming an opinion and reporting on a single financial statement or on a specific element of a financial statement, the auditor shall apply the requirements in revised SS 700 adapted as necessary in the circumstance of the engagement. If the auditor undertakes an engagement to report on a single financial statement or on a specific element of a financial statement in conjunction with an engagement to audit the entity's complete set of financial statements, the auditor shall express a separate opinion for each engagement. An audited single financial statement or an audited specific element of a financial statement may be published together with the entity's audited complete set of financial statements. If the auditor concludes that the presentation of a single financial statement or the specific element of the financial statement does not differentiate it sufficiently from the complete set of financial statements, the auditor shall ask management to rectify the situation. The auditor shall also differentiate the opinion on the single financial statement or on the specific element of the financial statement from the opinion on the complete set of financial statements. The auditor shall not issue the auditor's report containing the opinion on the single financial statement or on the specific element of the financial statement until satisfied with the differentiation. If in the opinion in the auditor's report on an entity's complete set of financial statements is modified or that report includes an emphasis of matter paragraph or other matter paragraph, the auditor shall determine the effect that this may have on the auditor's report on a single financial statement or on a specific element of those financial statements. When deemed appropriate, the auditor shall modify the opinion on the single financial statement or on the specific element of a financial statement or include an emphasis of matter paragraph or other matter paragraph in the auditor's report accordingly. If the auditor concludes that it is necessary to express an adverse opinion or disclaim an opinion on the entity's complete set of financial statements as a whole, revised SS 705 does not permit the auditor to include in the same auditor's report an unmodified opinion on a single financial statement that forms part of those financial statements or on a specific element that forms part of those financial statements. This is because such an unmodified opinion would contradict the adverse opinion or disclaimer of opinion on the entity's complete set of financial statements as a whole. If the auditor concludes that it is necessary to express an adverse opinion or disclaim an opinion on the entity's complete set of financial statements as a whole, but in the context of a separate audit of a specific element that is included in those financial statements, the auditor nevertheless considers it appropriate to express an unmodified opinion on that element. The auditor shall only do so if the auditor is not prohibited by law or regulation from doing so. The opinion is expressed in an auditor's report that is not published together with the auditor's report containing the adverse opinion or disclaimer of opinion and The specific element does not constitute a major portion of the entity's complete set of financial statements. The auditor shall not express an unmodified opinion on a single financial statement of a complete set of financial statements if the auditor has expressed an adverse opinion or disclaimed an opinion on the complete set of financial statements as a whole. In the case, this is the case even if the auditor's report on the single financial statement is not published together with the auditor's report containing the adverse opinion or disclaimer of opinion. This is because a single financial statement is deemed to constitute a major portion of those financial statements. SS7, a revised SS700 requires the auditor in forming an opinion to evaluate whether the financial statements provide adequate disclosures to enable the intended users to understand the effect of material transactions and events on the information conveyed in the financial statements. In the case of a single financial statement or of a specific element of financial statement, it is important that financial statement or the element including the related notes in view of the requirements of the applicable financial reporting framework provides adequate disclosures to enable the intended users to understand the information conveyed in the financial statement or the elements and the effect of material transactions and events on the information conveyed in the financial statement or the events or the element financial statement or the element. Even when the modified opinion on the entity's complete set of financial statements, emphasis of matter paragraph or other matter paragraph does not relate to the audited financial statement or the audited element, the auditor may still deem it appropriate to refer to the modification in an other matter paragraph in an auditor's report on the financial statement or on the element because the auditor judges it to be relevant to the user's understanding of the audited financial statement or the audited element or the related auditor's report. In the auditor's report on an entity's complete set of financial statements, the expression of an disclaimer of opinion regarding the results of operations and cash flows where relevant, and an unmodified opinion regarding the state of affairs is permitted since the disclaimer of opinion is being issued in respect of the results of operations and cash flows only and not in respect of financial statements as a whole. SA 800 and SA 805 do not override the requirements of other essays, nor do they purport to deal with all special considerations that may be relevant in the circumstance of the engagements. Examples of specific elements, accounts, or items of financial statements are account receivables, allowance for doubtful debts receivables, doubtful accounts receivables, inventory, the liability for accrued benefits of a private pension plan, the recorded value of identified intangible assets, or the liability for incurred but not reported claims in an insurance portfolio, including related notes, a schedule of externally managed assets and income of a private pension plan, including related notes, a schedule of net tangible assets, including related notes, a schedule of disbursements in relation to a lease property, including explanatory notes. Next, test your knowledge question number 2. List out few factors affecting auditors' determination of the acceptability of the applied criteria before accepting audit of summary financial statements. Factors affecting the auditor's determination of the acceptability of the applied criteria: the nature of the entity, the purpose of the summary financial statements, the information needs of the intended users of the summary financial statements, and whether the applied criteria will result in summary financial statements that are not misleading in the circumstances. These are the factors affecting the auditor's determination of the acceptability of the applied criteria. Test your knowledge question number 3. SA 800 deals with the special considerations applicable in respect of the audit of financial statements prepared in accordance with the special purpose framework. Explain by giving examples meaning of special purpose framework. Special purpose framework. SA 800 defines special purpose framework as a financial reporting framework designed to meet the financial information needs of specific users. The financial reporting framework may be a fair presentation framework or a compliance framework. The requirements of the applicable financial reporting framework determine the form and content of the financial statements and what constitute a complete set of financial statements. Examples of special purpose financial reporting framework. Examples is the cash receipts and disbursements basis of accounting for cash flow information that an entity may be requested to prepare for creditors. The financial reporting provisions established by a regulator to meet the requirements of that regulator. The financial reporting provisions of a contract, such as a bond indenture, a loan agreement, or a project grant. Special purpose framework is to be distinguished from general purpose framework. A financial reporting framework designed to meet the common financial information needs of a wide range of users is known as general purpose framework, whereas a financial reporting framework designed to meet the financial information needs of a specific users is known as a special purpose framework. Test your knowledge question number 4. CAY is the auditor of a company. He has expressed adverse opinion on audited financial statements. What additional points he has to keep in mind while expressing opinion on summary financial statements derived from such audited financial statements? Modifications to the opinion, emphasis of matter paragraphs, or other matter paragraphs in the auditor's report on the audited financial statements. When the auditor's report on the audited financial statements contains a qualified opinion, an emphasis of matter paragraphs or other matter paragraphs, but the auditor is satisfied that the summary financial statements are consistent in all material respects with or a fair summary of the audited financial statements in accordance with the applied criteria. The auditor's report on the summary financial statement shall also contain following: state that the auditor's report on the audited financial statements contains a qualified opinion, an emphasis of matter paragraph or other matter paragraph, and describe the basis for the qualified opinion on the audited financial statements, and that qualified opinion or the emphasis of matter or the other matter paragraph in the auditor's report on the audited financial statements and the effect thereof on the summary financial statements, if any. When the auditor's report on the audited financial statements contains an adverse opinion or a disclaimer of opinion, the auditor's report on the summary financial statements shall additionally state that the auditor's report on the audited financial statements contains an adverse opinion or a disclaimer of opinion, describe the basis for that adverse opinion or a disclaimer of opinion, and state that as a result of the adverse opinion or disclaimer of opinion, it is inappropriate to express an opinion on the summary financial statements. Modified opinion on the summary financial statements. If the summary financial statements are not consistent in all material respects with or are not a fair summary of the audited financial statements in accordance with the applied criteria, and management does not agree to make the necessary changes, the auditor shall express an adverse opinion on the summary financial statements.